Hello everyone and welcome back to Genie Crafts. In today's video, I'm going to talk about something very important, that is how to create your own template for your own Lightbox. I mean, there are templates available online, but the amount of templates available is very less, and there is almost next to no information available on YouTube or internet on how to create these templates. So in a 4-part video series, I'm going to be sharing 4 different ways in which you can create your template for a Lightbox like the one you are seeing on screen. So today we are going to be starting with the method 1, which is a completely digital method wherein with the help of minimal digital resources you can create your own Lightbox template. So let's get started. So the first method is the one wherein we are going to use freely available resources online and try to build our template without doing any actual sketch. Considering I am very bad at sketch, so I prefer to rely on freely available templates and figures online. So one of my favorite website is pixabay.com, which I have just opened. So the Lightbox which you saw earlier is basically a natural scenery. There are a few trees, some grass, there is a lake with a reflection, there is a cloud, there is a sun, and so on, and few mountains. So what I need to do is that I need to go onto this website, select the vector images format, and save the images which I get as a result. I need to select. So a majority of your time is going to go into this activity. So once you have certain framework of a design in your mind, correspondingly download the images. To build the template for the different layers of the Lightbox, I'm going to use Microsoft PowerPoint as my digital tool. If you have Keynote or any other presentation software, you can utilize that. But I'll be presenting this tutorial from Microsoft PowerPoint as my tool. Now, since my Lightbox is in the portrait mode and A4 size, so I'm going to go into design and change the dimensions of my slide to A4 and keep it in the portrait mode. Once you have the slide dimensions set, click on the slide, press Ctrl A and delete everything on the slide. Now the first thing that we need to do is to create border for the slide. To create the border, go to the insert menu, click on shapes and select rectangle and draw a rectangle covering the entire slide. Ensure that you are covering the entire slide edge to edge. Do not exceed the slide, do not be inside the slide. Once you are done that, then under the format menu, change the border color to black and change the fill color to black also. Next, click on the rectangle to select it, press Ctrl C, Ctrl V to create a copy of the rectangle and ensure that it is aligned with the border once again. Now change the fill color of this new rectangle which is on top of your previous rectangle to blue, just to differentiate between the two rectangles. Reduce the size of this rectangle a little bit so that this is a rectangle within a rectangle, and then under the format menu in the align section, align it vertically and horizontally in the middle so that it is at equal distances from the border. Once you are happy with the border width, change the fill color of the inner rectangle to black again, and then under the merge shapes on the left hand side, select the combine option, which will remove the inner area and you will be just left with a border. Now create as many copy of this template slide as per your total number of layers. So I had 13 layers, so I created 13 copies of this slide plus another extra buffer slide. And now it's just a matter of placing the images properly and you will have all your layers ready. On the first slide, I am going to copy paste the image of the grass that I had previously downloaded. This is the first layer in my Lightbox, the topmost layer, grass at the bottom. So I copy pasted and I placed the grass at the bottom of the slide, touching with the border. Just ensure that every image is touching the border in one way or another. It should touch at least one border. Then there was another image of another variant of grass. So I copy pasted again, and I have to ensure that this is slightly larger than my previous image. So as you go down the layers, you have to keep making new things visible to the person who is viewing your Lightbox. So slightly taller than my grass, again flushing with the bottom of the slide. The next layer was a tree on the side, so I copy pasted the tree and put it on the slide. since it was very big, so I had to reduce or scale down the image and flush it to the left hand side, touching with the border. With every layer, the shapes will keep getting slightly further away from the border so that they are visible to the eye. So what I'm going to do is to connect this shape, which I have placed certain distance above the border, with the border. I'm going to use the scribble option under the insert menu and create a freehand shape or closed loop at the bottom and then fill it with black color. It doesn't matter if you go outside the borders, because when you are going to take a PDF printout of this, anything that is outside the border is anyway going to get cut off. So don't worry if you go outside, but we need to create that impression that everything below this tree line is black, so that the user or anybody who is using this template doesn't cut into the border. Next layer was lake, so I copy pasted the lake in the middle. Now in this particular Lightbox, we have created a reflection feature into the Lightbox. For this, you need to divide your image into two parts, the actual tree line and the reflection of the tree line. Since I don't want user to see the reflection of the tree line, I'm going to create a rectangle on top of it and fill it with white color, so that when I take a printout, that reflection is not visible. As you can see that I have to make do with what I have available with this tool. Obviously, if you have a drawing tool like Procreate or Krita or Sketchbook, or so many other drawing tools are available, you can easily do all this by the eraser and other stuff. But since I don't have it, so I'm just utilizing my creativity to get my template done. In the previous layer, I created the tree line. So for the reflection layer, I have just copy pasted that slide again so that I can move my rectangle towards the top, and now I make the reflection visible rather than the actual tree line. Now between these two layers, there is going to come a layer which will have an area, which will be covered with regular trace paper. This will help dim the image of the reflection, and the reflection will not be so bold when we switch on the light of the Lightbox. So we'll insert a layer between these two layers, and all we need to do is that we need to copy paste the same rectangle that we are using to hide the image and extend it down a little bit and fill it with a light shade of gray, so that the user who is using the template knows which area to cut and cover with the trace paper. Next, for the blue color of the reflection or the blue color of the lake, we'll insert a layer below the reflection layer, and this time the same area we will cut as we did for dimming the reflection, but this time we are going to cover it with a blue trace paper. So basically you just copy paste the same slide and change the color of that rectangle to light blue so that the user knows. Anyway, we are going to write the instructions clearly on each of the layers so that anybody who is using this template will be able to do it without any difficulty. Now the next 4 layers represent mountains. One mountain on the right hand side and then a mountain range on the left hand side. So copy paste the mountain, take reference from your previous tree line layer so that you know where to place your mountain and what size you need to keep it, and ensure that they are touching the border. Now in the mountain, you must have seen that I have created the snow effect. So certain portions of the mountain are dark and certain portions of the mountain are light. So all the portions of the mountain that I want to appear as light, I will cut out in the first layer of the mountain, and in the second layer of the mountain, which will be exactly same shape as this layer of the mountain, I am not going to cut out anything. So wherever I have cut out, there is a single layer of paper to pass the light through, and hence it appears as light. And wherever I have not cut out, there are 2 layers for the light to pass through, and hence they appear as dark and giving the snow effect. Now since my mountain cannot go below the tree line, it cannot definitely go inside the lake, so I am going to create a thin rectangle and color it black and with black border so that it represents the area till which my mountain is going to be. Also, to connect my mountain to the left hand border, under the insert menu in the shape section, I am going to use the scribble tool and scribble a line from the mountain towards the left hand side border so that the mountain is connected. Under the format menu, you can change the weight and the color of your scribbled line as per your wish. Once you're done designing this layer, you can delete the reference image of the tree line that you copied from the other layer, so that this layer is now ready. Now for the snow effect, I have to have the exact same configuration as per this layer. The only difference would be that I would not be cutting out the detail in that layer. So I'll just create a copy of this layer. Also for the mountain series that is on the left hand side, I will create a copy of this slide, and then I will select the image, and under the format section I'm going to flip it horizontally so that it represents a mountain series on the left hand side. So overall there will be 4 layers for the mountain, or 4 slides for the mountains, 2 on the right hand side, 2 on the left hand side. On one right hand and one left hand side you're going to cut out the details, and on the other right hand side and left hand side you're going to cut out the shape of the mountain without the details. Now for the cloud layer, copy paste the cloud and size it as per your requirements. In case you are not able to get your image in black color, then under the artistic effects you can convert the fill color of your image to black. Similarly, position the other cloud also. Now before going to the next layer to position the sun, since I want my sun behind the clouds, so on the cloud layer itself I'm going to position the sun as per my requirement, and once I'm happy with that positioning, I'll copy, or rather I will cut paste from this layer and paste the sun onto the next layer. So that will create my last layer, which is the sun layer. And now we are done with all the layers. There might be few corrections here and there that would be required, but the next step is extremely important. You need to put instructions on each slide which area to cut or what to do with what shaded area. So that's our next step. Now one of the most important aspect of any Lightbox template is telling the user what is the workable area. So what I'm going to do now is to create a text box and place it on all 4 borders, telling the user do not cut into the black border. That means do not exceed that cutting limit. Also you need to create and position the text boxes only on the first slide, and then you can just select all of them by keeping Ctrl pressed and copy paste on each of the slide. They will always come on the exact same position where they were on the first slide, so you won't need to reposition them. Next important aspect of a template is telling the user which area to cut and which area to keep. So on each slide I'm going to put a text box telling whether to cut the white or to cut the black. So on the first slide I want the user to remove all the white area, so I'm going to clearly mention it. Plus I will also mention that do not remove the black area, just to be sure. Also this message is going to remain same more or less for each slide, so I'm just going to copy paste on all the slide and make minor changes to the message as required. So on the second slide also, third slide also, fourth slide also, this message is going to remain same. Once we reach the lake layer or the tree line layer, there are 2 sections to your template now, above and the below, and I'm going to clearly mention what to do for both sections. When you come to the trace paper layer, then in that case you need to cut out the trace area. So you need to change your message to cut out this area and replace it with the regular trace paper. Similarly, when you come to the blue trace paper layer, where you are going to apply the blue trace paper to give it the blue effect in the reflection, you are going to change the message to remove this area and replace it with a blue trace paper. Oh, I missed a certain design element to the layers, so I need to remove the area above the trace paper also, otherwise the mountains won't be visible. So what I'm going to do is that create a separation between the trace paper and the above portion and put that message that remove this area completely and do not cut into the black area. Put the same message for the blue trace paper layer also. Now for the first mountain layer, the instruction would be very simple. Simply write, remove all the white area and keep all the black area. But for the second mountain layer, the instructions will slightly change. While you will keep the same instructions as the first mountain layer, but inside the mountain, write a small note saying that do not cut inside the mountain at all. The reason we need to do this is because in Microsoft PowerPoint, I do not have a fill option which allows me to fill the area inside a figure with a certain color. So can't do that, so hence I'm putting the message. Repeat the same process for the next 2 mountain layers also. Now the cloud layer is very straightforward. You just need to remove all the white areas, so copy paste the same message as before. And for the sun layer, the area removal now reverses. Now you're not going to remove the white area, you're going to remove the black portion, because this is the last layer, so you need to keep it completely intact besides the few elements that needs to be removed and that needs to shine through the light. So put a short message saying that, remove the black area inside the sun and do not remove the white area. And with that, we are done with the layers. Just go through the slides once again to see if you have missed anything in the template. And once you are done, go to the file menu and save it as a PDF file. The option of PDF also comes while you save the PowerPoint presentation. Open the PDF file and go through each of the pages of the PDF to see if your template has come as you expected. Like I told you before, anything that is outside the borders of the slide will not come in your printout. And now when you take this printout for this PDF, you will be able to see the right template for your Lightbox. And my friends, that's how you make a Lightbox template if you don't have a sketching experience, if you don't have a drawing experience, and you don't have an iPad or a Surface or any of the drawing tablets, and you're not familiar with the drawing softwares. So this is how you design a template with limited resources. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and found it useful. If you guys liked it and found it informative, then please do not forget to hit the like button and do share it with your friends. Also do subscribe to my channel for regular videos on paper arts, and I will see you guys very soon in the second way of making template for a paper cut Lightbox very soon. Till then, stay safe, take care, and bye bye.